Well, I'd like to welcome you to the DaVinci Resolve step-by-step for Everglades instructors and students. This training will help you go through DaVinci Resolve 17 and any other versions really. And once you've downloaded DaVinci Resolve, we'll be able to input a video, edit that video, colorize the video, and render that video. And so as we go along, this is very important skill set to gain in this particular course. This our 200 course typically is where this is downloaded in the UAV program, UAS program that we have here at Everglades. And I think you'll find this training very beneficial to you. If you've never been exposed to video editing before, this will become very valuable to you. And so let's go ahead and get going. So I'd like to welcome everybody to DaVinci Resolve. This presentation is for all Everglades University instructors and students that have a need to use DaVinci Resolve in our UAS video programming when we do video editing and photogrammetry and audio editing within the program. This is a very powerful tool. And I think that once we've completed this video, you'll have a much better understanding of how to get a video and an audio clip, put them together, edit them, colorize them, put words on text, put a starting slide in, put an ending slide. You can roll credits. You can do a whole lot of things. And by the time we're done with this video, instructors and students will have a much better idea of how to do all of these things. So getting started with DaVinci Resolve, it's pretty easy, but it does take a little while to get going with it. So getting started, you'll see all of the different pages that I've got here. There are many, many more, of course. They look really complicated. The one thing I'm going to tell you with DaVinci Resolve is when you first open it up, it is very intimidating looking, but it's actually easier to use than one might think. It looks so intimidating because it's such a professional application. The link that I have on the top of this slide is one that you can use to download DaVinci Resolve. It goes straight to the Blackmagic Design Studios and gives you a free download. But on the next slide, I've got the actual process for completing the download. So the first thing you need to do whenever you're starting with DaVinci Resolve is, of course, download the free application. There is a pay application that is the studio version. That's roughly $400, but you can download it. Use the link that I have here. That's your first step. Once you hit that link, you'll get to this page that says for you to register. We'll look at that in just a moment. The DaVinci Resolve download page actually looks like this bottom picture I've got here in step 2. You get the DaVinci Resolve download page. You'll scroll down and you'll click the download now box. Once you do that, you'll get the application start download. Now, if you've got a Mac operating system or a Windows operating system on your computer, be sure you select the correct one. Be sure that you also use the download boxes that say DaVinci Resolve 17. That's the free version. If you download the DaVinci Resolve Studio 17, that is the pay version. So you don't want to do that. It'll take about 10 or 15 minutes to complete the entire process, and you'll need to run the files on DaVinci Resolve until the DaVinci Resolve icon appears. I have it there in step 4 at the bottom. And you'll be ready to use the application. There is actually one more. So when you get started with DaVinci Resolve, there will be a registration page. And so that registration page will ask you to put your name and your email address and your phone number and the country you're from, and then give a reason why you're using DaVinci Resolve. I just put in there, editing drone videos. But you would register and complete the download there. You will get the DaVinci Resolve icon. Once you get that icon that I'm showing there in step 6, you'll click on that, and that will take you to the very first page in DaVinci Resolve. And this is where you're going to get to the media pool to start building videos. Once you get to the initial page, you'll find a blank page, and you can see that on the left side of the screen. It'll look like it'll have the 3 DaVinci Resolve little dots and a box at the top, and then it'll give you a project box. What you'll do is go down to the bottom of the page, and I have it circled there in green at the bottom, and it is a new project. So you'll click on that. That's your steps. I have that in step 7, and then you'll title your project. And I saved this one as DJI class project. You can save it to whatever you want to name it, and then you hit create. And once you do that, a folder will pop up in what we call the media pool, and we'll talk more about that in just a moment. You can create at this point as many projects as you want by just doing this. You can also go up to the top in the media pool tab, which we'll talk about in a moment, and right click and get the drop down and select a new project. So you can do that at any time. My thought to you is to go ahead and have a file folder ready to drop some media in, and we'll talk about that on the next few slides. But before we get to actually everything that you need to do, I want you to notice a few controls. These are found at the bottom of DaVinci Resolve. These are what you need to be familiar with to run DaVinci Resolve. And what I'm going to tell you, there's 7 areas here. There's a media pool, a cut tab, which is where the first page opens up to after you've done the initial create project. Then you've got an edit tab, a fusion tab, a color tab, a fairlight tab, and finally a rendering tab, which is where you do the media portion. This is where you control your entire project, and my recommendation to you is start from the media and just work your way all the way through to the end in sequence. And that way you can make a video using these tabs at the bottom. DaVinci Resolve actually calls these pages, I call them tabs. But before you input any video whatsoever, you need to be familiar with a couple of things. And the first thing I'm going to tell you is this. When you go into the cut page or the edit page, either one of these icons that you see here at the bottom, at the very top of the page in the banner that runs across the top that says DaVinci Resolve, and I've got it circled up here in the picture with the green arrow pointing to it, what you're going to see is the undo command. Before you do anything, before you load anything, be very familiar. Go up and open that up and be very familiar that you know where the undo command is. You're going to need it. You're going to need it often. As I said earlier, DaVinci Resolve can intimidate you when you first open it. So knowing where the undo tab is very important, because DaVinci Resolve has so many features. If you click on a button you don't know what is, a different screen will come up and you'll be totally lost. Trust me, I know this from experience, and so do a lot of our students. So when you're learning DaVinci Resolve, follow the steps that I've given you to make your initial video. My recommendation to you is to get into each of these tabs and just play with some of the buttons and the controls that are in here. Each week as I teach this course, I go through and teach all the features within this button, all of these pages and tabs. But what I would recommend you to do initially when you're building a video is just follow the instructions in this video, and you can completely edit a video no problem without getting into all of the intricate details of building a video. There's many micro screens and pages that open up here, so you don't want to get too buried down into Resolve. So learn where the undo command is before you ever start downloading videos. Now let's talk about downloading videos for just a moment. So when you're in the Media tab, which is that very first tab on the last slide, it's on the bottom, it's in the very first. What you'll do is you'll need to download videos and audio into the media pool. The media pool is a place that just houses your files. It houses your videos, your audio, your photographs, and it's just a place that sits there, and you can grab any of those anytime you want while you're building a project, and you can drag any of these photographs or audio or pictures anywhere you want, and it just stays up there. If you go to the Media tab anytime during the edit process, all of your videos will still be there. So what you need to do is go down to that Media tab, the very first tab. It'll open up to this page that I have here on the screen, and there's and then what you'll do is go down to the drop down that says Import. And so just a couple of notes here before you do that. You're going to have a repository, a file somewhere that's got videos, that has audio. And so my recommendation to you is in the course, in the UAV 200 course, my recommendation is to go and download video that's in the course and put that in a file folder on your computer somewhere or on a hard drive somewhere, so that you have easy access to it. That way when you go to this media pool area, you can import from that file and pull in your video. By the way, I would make a separate file for audio and house it wherever you keep your videos, because you're going to need to pull in audio as well. In just a few minutes, just a couple of charts away, I've got a chart that'll help you get audio for all of your videos that you have. By the way, you can also dub over a lot of these videos with a microphone. But there's two real ways to add a clip or photos or audio to your project. The first way, these are basic ways, by the way. There are other ways, but the best way is to right-click into the media pool box and then go down to the import and then click that. And then what will happen is you'll have to go find your folder. Your folder that houses your video and audio will pop up. My recommendation is move that to the side on the screen and just drag the folder, just drag the file, whatever video it is or audio it is, into the media pool. That's one way. The second way is just import, and you can import it straight into the media pool. Like you click on it and just say click import. You click on the video in your file, hit import, and it'll come right in. So that's the two ways to get there. You drag from your file to the other after you've hit import, or you hit the import once you get to that file and have highlighted it, and it will import it to the media pool. once you've got your video and audio into the media pool, you're ready to start really kind of working with it at that time. Now, a lot of times students will click on this media pool at the top again and it'll disappear, and they'll say, oh no, what happened to all of my videos? I just had them here and they went away. And so what really happens here is it just closes the media pool out, but you can just click on it again at the top and it will reopen back up and all your videos and audio files will be there. So once your files are in the media pool, you will just drag them over to the side viewer, or you can double click on them and they will automatically load to the viewer at the top and play your video. And so once your video is over to the viewer, there's a preparatory step you need to complete. This is really important because it'll save you a whole lot of time whenever you're building your video. So down below the viewer, you've got the media pool box where you've put all of your media. Then you've got a viewer. These are at the top half of the DaVinci Resolve screen. At the bottom, below that gray line you see in the middle there, is what we call the timeline. And so what's eventually going to happen is you're going to want to take these videos and audios and drag them to the timeline. And they will play in this viewer box at the top. But before you do that, this important step needs to happen. Once you drag a video over to this viewer, there are two little triangle cursors that are there. They are called the in point and out point. These are really important because they let you pre-edit the video. So you can drag the first point over to where you want to start the video. So you play the video in the video viewer just by double clicking on it in the media pool. Then you drag the end point where you want to start the video. Most videos, students start right at the beginning, but you can start at 10 seconds in or however long you want. And then the out point is where you want to stop the video. So you drag the out point, which is the second point, over to where you want to stop the video. This way, when you drag this video over down to the timeline, it's already preset and it will just play your in point and out point, and you won't have to worry about any other editing sections of that video because that's just where the video is going to play. Here's kind of a larger view of that. In this particular step, I'm calling it step 9. Like in this particular video, I don't want to start at the very beginning. So I started a few seconds into this video, and I only want to show a short piece of it. Most videos are very effective where you just take a small clip. If you ever watch the media news or you ever watch videos a lot of times on YouTube, you'll see them just give you a snippet, just a few seconds of a video, and then they'll move to the next one. Well, this allows you to do that before you even drag down to the timeline. It's really important. It's really your first edit of your video. Now in the Cut tab, I kind of need to explain the difference between the Cut tab and the Edit tab. So the Cut tab's an interesting tab in that it will allow you to see your entire video run and your entire audio run in the same place. So you can drag your video and your audio from your media pool down to the timeline. So once you get a video into the media pool, DaVinci Resolve will already be in the Cut tab. So once you have that media there, you just double click on the video, you bring it over to the viewer, you put your in and out lines in. Then you follow that same process for every one of your videos. So you can take the video that you have the cut line and the in line and the outline in, and just drag it down to the viewer. To the timeline. Then you do that for every one of the videos that you pull in, and that way you'll have them all preset. So the preparatory step in the cut tab is to go and set those point lines and then start dragging everything down to the media pool. The best feature of the cut tab is this boring feature, which is really kind of interesting, and I've drawn this blue arrow over to it. It's a little box. It's just a special feature that's in there that says that you can adjust the timing of the cuts in your video, and it allows you to do that. If you need to see the entire timeline, you can see the entire timeline in the cut tab. The edit tab only lets you see sections at a time, so it'll play your video, but it'll only let you see just little short sections at any one given time, and it'll play it continuously all the way to the end. But in the cut tab, it has its advantage because you can see the entire video once you've built it, the whole run, and it shows up in a couple of green lines at the top of the timeline. One good feature of the cut tab is it allows you to view the clips individually. This in the step 10 box, I have the orange box at the bottom. You can see how those two lines at the top, I've got an arrow pointed to them, one to the audio, which is green, and one to the video, which is blue. You can see the length of the entire video I've got in there right now, and you can also see the length of the audio I have in there, and I can drag that audio and make it as long as I need to make it. Now let's talk about audio for just a minute. Remember, I had said a couple of slides ago that I wanted you to go ahead and set up an audio file folder so you can drag audio in. But you know, when you're trying to get audio for your video clips, oftentimes you have to pay for them. They're always copyrighted. But there are many places you can get some free audio sounds. So I've listed 11 places you can go. These are all websites. You would just type in, for example, free sound, and click on the website. And then you'll have to register for each of these, but these are free. And then you can just play around in these. What they'll do is they'll pop up and they'll give you different sounds, and you'll just click on them and listen to them. It's really important that you download a bunch of audio up front. Now, I want to stop for just a minute before we really get into a basic edit of a video. You've already had a couple of edits of videos with your in and out marks or points. But what I want to say to you is this. Go in and set this audio file up. Go in and set a video file up front. Pull in your audio sounds that you want, and you can save them in DaVinci Resolve. They will bookmark for you. What I'm going to tell you is that if you have all of this stuff ready, it makes it a lot easier to work and build a video. You can just go to these sounds and pull them in anytime you have a video. In the ASC 200 course, I will often have you fly a video, and if you're an instructor, listen to this. You should have your students fly if they can. If not, they'll pull the videos in from the 200 course to use in DaVinci Resolve for the course. Students that have drones can certainly fly their drones and make videos, and I typically try to do that every single class, from the 200 class all the way course, all the way to through the 400 course. The 450 course is in this program is a entrepreneur course. It teaches students how to set up a drone business. But the 200 course through the 400 course, students will be gathering knowledge on DaVinci Resolve and will be building their skills in DaVinci Resolve through flying and making videos every single week. So my thought here is get all of these sounds set up and start pulling videos into your video files on your computer or your external hard drive so that you have these things available to go work with. By the way, before we move on, I just want to draw your attention to the pictures that I have here in this particular couple of boxes. Notice I have audio that I've drugged down to the timeline. You can click the mixers to the side and up at the top and adjust all of your sounds. And so this is one of the things. This is the Fairlight page, by the way, that has these features, and we will get to Fairlight. But I will tell you that this is what makes DaVinci Resolve so powerful, is they have so many tools at your disposal. So now we get to the heart of editing videos, and so you leave the Cut tab and go to the Edit tab. And so it's best to start, of course, in the Media tab first, go to the Cut tab and start putting your points in and looking at your video and dragging down to the timeline. And then you go to the Edit tab. The Edit tab is where you're going to spend virtually all of your time. This is the most frequently used tab, and in fact, some developers never even use the Cut tab at all. They just use the Media Pool and the Edit tab, sometimes the Color tab, and the Fairlight and Deliver tab, and some don't even use all of them. So I would just tell you, for you in this course, as this course progresses, we'll go through all of the tabs, but you'll spend most of your time in this Edit tab. So once you've moved the video and the audio to the timeline, the editing from the Edit tab is much easier. Like I said earlier, you'll only be able to see part of the video in the Edit tab. So in this Edit page, in the picture I have at the bottom, you see that I've drug a video down. I have a video in the viewer, and I also have some sound, some audio in the timeline at the bottom. In my media viewer, I've just got a different way to look at it on the side there, and I've got all my videos to the side in the media pool. My viewers playing and my videos are there. This makes it really, really easy for you to edit a video. So at the end of this particular presentation, I have, and I've placed this in the course, in the PowerPoints, I have several slides that give you shortcuts for your keyboard. My recommendation to you is download or print those charts and put them somewhere where you're working with DaVinci Resolve, and you can use some of the shortcuts. But primarily, what you need to do is when you're in any of these tabs that are at the bottom, or these pages that are at the bottom of whatever you're working on, this particular one is the Edit tab, you go to the top of the page where it says DaVinci Resolve, and then on my computer it's a blue banner that runs across the top, and you can hit File or Edit, and this is where the drop downs come in. And so you can obviously import videos there, and I showed you how to do that earlier from the drop down. You can also, and some of the shortcuts I gave you earlier, you could hit Control and I, and then you would do the same thing. And so that's the shortcuts on the keyboard. They're very powerful. There's a whole bunch of them, and I have them here at the end of this presentation. So once the video and audio, they're all imported to the media pool, you drug them down to the timeline, you click on them and look at any of those videos at any one point in your timeline, and it will pop up in the viewer, and you'll get to see it there. And once the video timeline is in place, you can move it around anywhere you want. just by using your mouse pointer. You just click and hold on that section of video, and you can move it up over the video, out. You can move it forward or backward. Anywhere you want in the timeline, you can do the audio the exact same way. So you can adjust the settings for your frame rates, and my recommendation to you is to do this right up front. So before you get to editing or anything, what I would recommend you do is go down to the bottom corner. It would be your right hand side, the left side of the screen, in the very bottom of the corner, and there is a settings button. And in that settings button, when you pull that up, what you'll find is you can go in, there will be a settings page that pops up. Make sure that your video is 1920 times 1080 for a frame rate, for the video quality, and that the frame rate is 24. If you do that, that's would make all of your clips, no matter where you got your clips, it'll make them all the same. Once you start editing, you can't make this change, so you do this right up front, and then all of your clips that you've drug in will be exactly the same. You can also trim your clips by grabbing the very edge, and you can see where I've got an arrow to the very edge. There's a little white box there. You would grab that edge and you can pull that in, or you can pull it out, and once you pull that in, there will be a black or gray area after the clip, or the clip used to be. And that will now be dead space. That is now where your edit takes place. Your video will not play there anymore. It's edit. And this has the same effect as what you did to start with. That preparatory step where I told you to go put the inline and the outline or the points in place. This has the same effect. It's actually the editing feature. So you can drag your movie, pieces of your movie around each individual clip just by hitting the corner of that and just holding and just dragging it with your mouse pointer wherever you want it. It's an automatic editor, so you don't have to do anything else. You don't have to go clip a razor blade or anything like that. It automatically edits for you, and your video will just play from that point, and it'll stop from that point. So when you do this, the area goes dark. That's the cut area, and you can move the clip to any position you want. You can now pick this clip up and move it somewhere else in the timeline if you want to do that. Now there's a couple of tools I want to give you that'll help you a lot in this edit page. And we're spending a lot of times on the edit page because this is your most important page. And this is where you need to learn a lot of these features. And so there's several tools you need to get familiar with. So look at the picture that is on the right side of this screen. It would be to your left side, and that is my full video. You can see that I've got my media pool there, I've got my viewer there, I've drug clips down to the timeline, I've drug audio down there, I even have an audio mixer open to the side. Up at the very top, across that black banner that runs at the top, is called an inspector. That's going to become very important to you. You need to learn what the inspector does. The inspector helps you edit your video. So the icon on this clip, you're going to be using it quite a bit, so in the inspector. So the inspector tab, it's really important. It allows you to zoom in an individual clip in the timeline. You can change it. You can make all kind of changes to it using the inspector. You can rotate the video. You can do a whole lot of things to the video using the inspector. So once you open it up, take a look at your video in it. Now if you start playing around with the inspector, you'll notice that you can move the video to the side, you can turn it, you can make it go faster. Remember, if you mess up anything in the inspector, go right back to your undo tab and undo it. And you're probably going to need to do this when you first start trying to learn the inspector. The inspector is your friend. It's one of the favorite tools that is in the edit mode, and you're going to use it a lot, so get familiar with it. There are some other tools you're going to need to become very familiar with while you're in this edit page or edit tab. So one of them is this arrow box. You notice it's a red arrow. That means I've clicked it. So anytime you click any one of these tools that runs above your timeline, that means that tool is active. So you can see I have this red arrow, which is called selection mode A. And so this selection arrow allows you, wherever you want, can trim the video. You can select this and then you go to the video wherever you want to clip and put that arrow there, and you that's your kind of your starting point to clip. There's also a couple of other features that are also in there when you're trimming these videos. There is the razor blade, which when you click that, it turns red. And that means that wherever you click on the video, it's going to do what razor blades do. It's going to cut. So wherever you select it on the timeline and you use the A tool to start with to move the clip to the cut point, and then you use the razor blade, it cuts it right there. The horseshoe looking symbol is called a snap tool. Now this is an important tool because once you cut the video wherever you cut it, like for example, if you use the select A tool, you move the cursor to the video where you want to start it. Then you can do that, of course, by dragging the very front of that video. But the A tool says, it tells DaVinci Resolve, I want you to start right here. And then you click the razor and you cut. It's going to leave a little gray line or black line in the middle. This is a open gap in the video. You'll go up to this horseshoe looking tool and you'll click that, and that will snap those two pieces together. And that way your video is now one smooth clip, and you no longer have a clip that plays and then this black little area and then it plays the rest of the video. You snap it together. The next box next to that is your link tool. And this links the audio and the video together as a simple clip. This is really, really a powerful tool because once you clip the video, the audio will still be playing and then the audio might not match up with the video. But if you use this tool, you can sync the audio and the video together and they link together as one clip. Very powerful tools. There are other tools up there. Those you won't be using so often. My recommendation to you is when you get a practice video, go up there and play with those a little bit. Look in your manual. There's a PDF attached to the course. You can download that and kind of look at those features. But those features are for advanced type work. You won't be using them that much. But these tools that you have in this toolbar, the selection mode A, the razor tool, the horseshoe looking clip smooth out tool, and the link tool are all very, very important. So all of these icons at the very top allows you to work in all of your videos and all of your audios at the same time. They're very, very powerful. Also in the edit tool, you've got a lot of other features. And in these features, you go to the top of the page. And what you'll see in there, there's an effects library. Now, in order to understand what effects are things like you can put a spin of a video in. You can put a transition in. You can put a starting slide in that says, welcome to my video. You can do a whole lot of things. You can put in credits at the very end of your video and a lot of things. So to use this when you're making videos and you want to make them look professional, this tool allows you to make titles, words, graphs on slides. The tool, in this transition tool at the top, you'll be using it in every single video. So when you hit that at the top, you click it with your mouse, it'll open up a box on the side. And I've got an arrow pointed to it. And you can select from whatever you want there. And there are many, many, many features in there. You can fade to black. You can put a transition in that transition one slide to the one clip to the next clip. You can put an introductory or title slide in. This tool, in the transition tool, the clip, you can put words on. So you notice that in the bottom box in the tools that I showed you on the last page, there's another box, and I've got an arrow pointed to it here. And you can see that you can put words on clips. This is where you do it. It's in that little yellow box I've got in this slide over to your right hand. It's on the right hand side, your left hand side at the bottom. You can select that and put words on the slides or drag that into your timeline anywhere you want to. You can also speed up your video here using this many of the features that are in the effects library. To the right side, this is your main audio mixer. So if you already have drug audio into the box, that audio mixer will pop up and you can control the volume of your audio anywhere you want to in the video. You can make it more or less. You can make a moderate tone or a loud tone or whatever you want. It's literally a mixer. So an equalizer, if you're familiar with that. So there's other ways to do that in the Fairlight page, and we will get to that momentarily. Now that's the main features of the edit page, and I would encourage you to go ahead and start playing around with those. Let's go over to the Fusion page. The Fusion page is a very interesting page. Some people don't use it. But the Fusion page allows you to do all kinds of tricks to your video. The Fusion page will allow you to animate. It'll allow you to put more words in the middle of on your actual video itself. And allows other types of effects. And it allows you to fuse the video together. So what you have to do is you have to click the Fusion page and open it up. And across the top of the Fusion page is a bunch of nodes. And I have those circled there. And as you select those nodes, a box will appear in what appears to be like a Fusion workbox or a timeline. What you have to do is you have to connect one end of a box to the Fusion box that pops up once you hit the tool. When you hit that tool, you connect each of these together, and wherever you place those in a video, they will complete that feature in your video. So it's pretty interesting. You can see it actually take place in the viewer box at the top. So that viewer is important while you're editing the video because it'll actually let you see where you're putting the effect in your video. This is a powerful tool. My recommendation is to play with this a lot. This allows you to do all kinds of things. I want to draw your attention to the left side of this slide with the picture I have at the bottom. And you see this little graph looking box to the side. What you do is you grab points of that and you can lighten or darken the picture of your video, how your video looks, the light. You can see in the viewer box I've made this particular clip very light in terms of a lot of lighting on the clip. I can make it darker. I can make it blue. I can make it red. I can, yellow it. I could try to draw a straight line and just make it, it's original. So what you'll do is you'll grab a point on one of in this graph line and pull it up or down to get the effect you want on your video, and you'll see it in the viewer box. This is the power of Fusion, and Fusion is a very good tool. Remember, when you start playing with this Fusion tool, there's lots and lots of features. Be sure you know where your undo box is, because you're going to need that undo feature while you're playing in Fusion when you initially start, for sure. Also in Fusion, if you want to put text anywhere in your video, you can select the text and then go into the inspector and add the text. So you go to the tool in Fusion, above the Fusion box, you select the tool for text. And oh, by the way, I've circled it here in the picture I've put up here in the corner. It's right to the side of the Fusion tools. Yeah, you'll see it. It looks like a text box. Then you'll go into the inspector, and this is where you actually type the text. And you can select the type of text you want and all of that. You do that in Inspector. So Fusion and the Inspector tool, remember the tool that you were using back in the edit page, is very important. And this is where you put the text actually on that particular clip. The color page. The color page has a color wheel, and you can color any of the clips you want to. You can make them red or blue or tint them. You can make them look like they have a filter on them. And so the color page is very, very important. And so it's different than any of the other pages like the Fusion page, because it actually allows you to precisely tone and color and light every one of your clips, or your whole movie if you want. So the color page allows you to color any clip you want individually. You can control the lighting on every single clip. Note that when you move these color wheels at the bottom, you just grab the middle of the wheel with your mouse and you drag it to the part of the color wheel you want to change. You should watch the clip in the viewer as you're making the change, because you'll see it tint. These are not drastic moves. I would tell you that use these color wheels when you're changing the color wheels. Move them slowly. Up in the right hand box, by the way, just like with the Fusion page, you have a graph box at the top. In that graph box, you can pull the points down to also do your tinting and coloring. So just play with the color box. You'll find it very easy to use. You probably won't be using it a whole lot. Most of your videos will be their natural tone or color that you film them in. But when you have lighting from inside and then you're trying to mesh it with outside and you're trying to make it blend together, it's very important to learn how to use this color tool. Now let's move on to the Fairlight audio tool and tab. This is where you control all of your audio. This is a very, very powerful page. You can do virtually anything you want to with your audio. And I will tell you that once you've loaded audio into the timeline and you click this Fairlight tab, you'll get a multitude of things that come up. You'll get a mixer box with an equalizer on it to your right. You'll also get this audio controller box that'll pop up in the middle. So once you go to the right side of the screen that pops up in the Fairlight tab, what you'll do is you'll select a feature from that. So remember back when you were in the edit tab, you could go in and select a transition or some type of feature for your video. Well, this does the same thing for audio. You can select different type of features and different sounds and different movement of your video. So you would select an input to the right. That's the first circle box, and then you would select whichever one you want, and that will bring a controller up. That is the middle box I have in this slide above the orange text box, below the orange text box. And what you'll find is that you also can add effects and sounds with the mixer. So you will move these fairly slowly. So you'll go to the right, you'll select the effect that you want, and then you'll control it with the controller in the middle. You can also control it with the equalizer in the mixer that you have to the side. My recommendation is for you to play with those with your audio. You'll get used to those really quickly. Go slowly when you first start until you really learn how to move these around, because too much movement will really mess up your audio. So you want to move in very slow, small increments. So finally we get over to the media pool. And in the media pool is where you have to render your video. Now, my thought to you is this: before you go and render your video, you can do a whole lot of different things. My thought is to go back to the Cut tab and just look at your whole video and all of your audio in one link, and then play it. Play the whole thing and go look at it. Once you're satisfied with it and you are ready to export it and render it in some media area like YouTube, the quickest way for you to do that is go to Quick Export. And you'll see that at the very top of the page. So you'll go to Quick Export and you'll save the file as an MP4. And then you'll export it over to YouTube, which I have circled there. So you'll quick export, you'll hit YouTube, and then you'll hit export. And it will render your video to YouTube. The best way to render the video is to use this Deliver tool. The Deliver tool at the very bottom allows you to see all of your settings in the video and allows you to change them. You can do this before you go and render the video, and then you can add the video to the render queue once you're ready. So this is pretty much going through start to finish on a video. You will get very used to building videos in DaVinci Resolve, and my thought to you is to take a couple of the videos that are in the ASC 200 course, pull them into the media pool, and start playing around with each of these features before you pull a drone video in. And then you'll find that the tool is actually, while it's intimidating looking, it's very easy to work with, and you'll get used to it fairly quickly. Now, the DaVinci Resolve keyboard shortcuts, I've got several pages of these. They go from the common DaVinci shortcuts that you'll be used to most of the time, like the undo shortcut, which you'll use often, is Control-Z. Be very familiar with that. The cut is Control-X. Copy is Control-C. Paste is Control-V, like they would be on most keyboards. But just understand that in DaVinci Resolve, they have some unique ones. So I've given you all of the shortcuts on the next few slides. I'm not really going to go over them in this video. My thought to you is just go look at them. This YouTube video, obviously, you're listening to it now, but I have a version of this video that's not narrated in the ASC 200 course that you can download and just go look at the slides, and you can print any of these command slides that you want and kind of put them up where you're working until you learn them all. So that's it on the step-by-step DaVinci Resolve 17 or any version tutorial for instructors and students at Everglades University. I was happy to do this video. I know it'll help many of you that are taking the ASC 200 course or that are just working with DaVinci Resolve. My thought to you, spend a little while practicing. You can eat up a lot of time playing with videos in DaVinci Resolve. So my thought to you is block out a couple of hours and go practice, and you'll get further down the road each session. So thank you for the time. Thank you for watching this video. Have fun with DaVinci Resolve.